How many times have you heard someone say, it's just my genes? Whether it's weight gain, heart disease, bad knees, or even forgetfulness. We've been sold a story that our DNA holds the final say in our future. But here's the truth. Science has been quietly dismantling that excuse for decades. In today's episode, we're taking a sledgehammer to some of the biggest myths about genetics and aging. From metabolism to memory, we'll show you exactly why you are not a prisoner of your DNA today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Welcome back to the Personalized Fitness Podcast, the show where we're challenging the myths about aging, ability, and wellness. I'm your host, Garrett Williamson, president of Personalized Fitness, and this is episode 2 in our genetics series based on my book, The Lie of Age. Now, if you haven't listened to episode 1 yet, I highly recommend you do it. In it, we explore how genetics is not a fixed fate. It's just a starting line that your lifestyle builds on. You still are in control. Today, we're diving into real-world examples of genetic myths that have been busted wide open by science. Because let's be honest, if we're going to free ourselves from the lie of age, we have to stop clinging to excuses that basically no longer hold water. As always, if you want to reach out, email me at garrett@personalizedfitness.com. I always say this, I think. That's just like Levi Garrett, Garrett, at personalizedfitness.com. Visit personalizedfitness.com, our website, or call us at 251-278-3343. That's the show phone number. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can always follow us on Facebook and on X at Team PE. All right, let's jump into it. Let's start with one of the most common myths. There's tons of them out there. I mean, I could let this show run for hours if I wanted to about all the myths that are associated with genetics and aging and how we think we're just strictly coded to decline. I can actually cite you tons of examples and conversations I've had with clients about the inherent beliefs about these things, but about these common myths. But the first one we're going to start with is my metabolism is slow because of my genetics. Now that sounds familiar, right? People often blame their genes for creeping weight gain. I hear this all the time when people talk about family members. But here's what the research shows. Metabolism doesn't slow significantly with age at all. Though they sometimes will say it doesn't slow with age until you hit a certain number. And even a lot of times when they say that, they say, well, it only slows slightly. But that is always tied to activity. It's also tied to nutrition. Metabolism is nothing more than calories in, calories out. That's it. And that you speed up your metabolism by activity, you decrease your metabolism by less activity or taking in more calories than your activity. Remember what Garfield always said. He always said that he was not overweight, he was under tall. And I thought that kind of funny because it's the same thing clients say to me. Oh, I'm eating just fine, I'm just not exercising enough. Well, if you're gaining weight, you're eating more than your activity level requires. So, yeah, just one of them. A 2021 study in Science analyzed metabolic data from over 6,000 people aged 8 to 95 years. They found that metabolism stays remarkably stable. And even with this sample group that didn't show activity levels, that they still saw stable metabolism between 20 and 60. So what causes the weight gain most people experience in their 30s, 40s, and 50s? Well, it's loss of muscle, but not because of time. It's due to inactivity. This is not a genetic curse. It's a change in behavior. Now let's bust another one. Let's talk about another favorite. Heart disease runs in my family, so there's nothing I can do. This one's very, 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 very popular. And in fact, it's something that health professionals, even we do this. We look for, do you have a predisposition or do you have heart disease in your family? But the fact that you can't do anything about it, that's completely false. And in fact, studies show that people with a genetic predisposition to heart disease who adopt healthy habits like exercising, eating well, and not smoking can cut their risk by more than 50%. A 2016 study in the New England Journal of Medicine showed that genetic risk can be overridden by lifestyle in nearly every case. And keep in mind, as I talk to you about these studies, that's what we know now. We're still studying this. Think about that. Even if your parents and grandparents had heart problems, you are not doomed. Your genes are only a suggestion. It's your daily movement, your mindset, your meals, your lifestyle that decide how those genes express themselves. Okay, moving on to another big one. Alzheimer's in my family. I'll probably get it too. Now, this is very scary. This is something that it's been very, very hot topic because the incidence of Alzheimer's and dementia have skyrocketed for many reasons, ones that we are actually causing. There is a particular scary myth, though, but again, science says otherwise about Alzheimer's and genetics. Yes, the APOE4 gene is linked to increased Alzheimer's risk, but having the gene is not a guarantee. In fact, lifestyle choices like regular exercise, good sleep, and changing your diet have been shown to reduce risk dramatically, even in APOE4 carriers. And a 2019 study in JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, showed the participants with a high genetic risk for Alzheimer's who followed a healthy lifestyle had a 32% lower risk of developing the disease compared to those with unhealthy habits. And again, that's what we know now. So again, genetics may load the gun, but you control whether the trigger gets pulled. Now let's keep going. Of course, we'll be going for a while. So what about I can't build muscle, it's just genetic? Sure, some people respond more quickly to resistance training than others. That's true. But no one is genetically incapable of building muscle. What matters is the stimulus and the recovery. You give your body enough resistance, enough protein, enough calories, enough rest, you will gain strength. As long as you've got nerve connection, in other words, communication to the muscle, blood flow to the muscle, you can grow it. In fact, a study in the Journal of Physiology showed that men over 70 years old increase muscle mass and strength just as much as younger men when given the same training protocol. That's not just a refutation of age. That's a direct slap in the face of the genetics excuse. Another one. I'm naturally anxious. It runs in the family. Mental health is often cited as just genetic. But again, epigenetics, how you live, changes everything. Studies on mindfulness, cognitive behavior therapy, and even aerobic exercise show that these practices can rewire brain pathways, reducing anxiety, depression, and even reshaping the brain's default mode network. In other words, your thoughts, behaviors, and actions influence your mind and your body. You're not locked into your family's emotional patterns. And another way of saying thoughts, behaviors, actions, fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, mindset. Now let's step back a minute and look at what all these examples have in common. Each one was considered genetic destiny. Each one has now been shown to be highly modifiable through behavior. And each one reinforces a larger truth. And we've been blaming our genes for way too long. Blaming your genetics for a client is like inheriting a beautiful car and then refusing to put gas in it, rotate the tires, or change the oil. And when it breaks down, you say, well, that must be bad genes. No, it's bad maintenance. You might have inherited a Corolla or a Corvette, but how you drive it, where you store it, how you take care of it, how you maintain it is what decides how long it will last. And remember, we're talking about machines here. Well, the most amazing machine ever created is the human body. That Corolla or Corvette cannot repair itself. the body can. What does this mean for you? If you've ever used genetics as an excuse or had a doctor tell you that's just how your family is, you need to hear this. That excuse is completely outdated. The science has moved on, and so should we. And by the way, when you hear those things, that's what beats up that mindset. That's why I say mindset is 60% of your battle. You get that wrong, yeah, you're going to have a tough time living by these statutes that I'm throwing out. You have more control than you've been told. You are far more capable than you think, and this genetic series is about giving that power back to you. If any of this made you want to challenge your old beliefs, then you're on the right track. And I invite you to listen to episode 3, where we'll be diving into real-world case studies, athletes, patients, and everyday people who overcame genetic limitations to become stronger, sharper, and healthier than anyone predicted. And if you want to talk about how to do that for yourself, get in touch with us at area code 251-278-3343, 251-278-EDGE, or reach out to me at garrett@personalizedfitness.com. Visit our website, personalizedfitness.com. You can also contact us there. Or check us out and follow us at Team PE on X and Facebook at Personalized Fitness. And if you like this, please, like, follow, and share this podcast, so you can stay tuned with us and share it with others. If you know of anybody that's suffering from these ridiculously outdated beliefs. Now, we've shattered the myth. Now it's time to act on the truth. Your genes might whisper, but your habits should shout louder. That's why Personalized Edge Fitness exists, to help write your own future, one rep, one step, one choice, one habit change at a time. Hey, thanks for listening. I'll see you in episode 3, Real People, Real Results, Case Studies that prove genetics isn't everything, because your ability, not your age or your DNA, is what truly defines you, and that's just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you next time.